Today's episode of Dad Tired Devotional. Yes, I changed it to Dad Tired Devotional because daily felt a little bit unsustainable. Today's episode of Dad Tired Devotional is brought to you by our Dadology Parenting Conference. Listen, if you're a husband and dad who feels a little bit exhausted, like you need your tank filled, please consider coming out to San Diego to join us at our Dad Tired Dadology Parenting Conference. I promise you, it's going to fill your tank. As a man, it's going to energize you. You'll come home a more equipped and motivated husband, father, and disciple. If you're a wife listening, give your husband the permission to break away for a day or two. Come join us in San Diego, get poured into as a man. And again, I promise he'll come home a little bit more healed than when he left. You can find out more information about the conference and get your ticket today by going to dadtired.com/dadology, or just click the Parenting Conference tab on the website. All right, first things first, I'm absolutely freezing. I just saw it's going to be like -30 in New York in the Northeast. So it's like 50 here, and I feel like I want to die. Probably my least masculine feature is being cold all the time. I'm just freezing all the time. Anyway, Layla and I, for our whole marriage, we've always been into documentaries. We love documentaries. And I was watching a documentary the other night. Say documentary one more time, see what happens. I was watching a documentary the other night about this guy who was skateboarding across the entire United States. Not sure why that one caught my eye or got my attention, but it was fascinating. I love human stories. I love like people trying stuff that's hard. And so anyway, I watched this documentary about this guy, and he was saying one thing that was stuck out to me that was kind of fascinating is he was saying as he's just skating for 8-10 hours a day across the United States, people would honk at him, because he has to sometimes like take highways and stuff, and he's on the shoulder of the highway or the road, and people are honking at him. And he said it doesn't bother him at all. He's just skating and kind of enjoying all the little details of life and the country. He said when people honk at him, it tells him so much about their life. And I thought that was really interesting. It's like, if somebody's honking at me, it just really tells me like where they're at in life and how like miserable they are. Like if you have to honk at a guy on a skateboard as you're driving from one point to another. I had watched that documentary, and then the very next day I'm taking my kids to school, and I'm sitting at a red light waiting for a left turn to make a left turn. And it's like a flashing yellow. So you got to wait for oncoming traffic. And I'm 3 cars deep. So there's the first car kind of waiting to turn into the school, and then the second car, and I'm behind the second car. So the second car is clearly annoyed that the car in front of them is going way too slow or not taking the risk to cut through the oncoming traffic. And so they just literally are wailing on their horn, and they just won't stop. They're like trying to bully this person in front of them to going on this unprotected left-hand turn. And I just kept thinking about that documentary that I was watching literally the night before that says it says so much about your life, that the biggest deal, like you are so emotionally invested in turning left right now that it is causing all the anxiety. And I would be lying if I said I haven't been in the same position. I typically don't honk. I'm not really a big horn user in my car. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't have equal frustration sometimes when I'm driving or in stuff that's just petty or stupid, and I let it definitely overconsume me and get the best of my emotions and something that I know isn't that big of a deal. I've been thinking about the last couple of days how so many of the writers in scripture are often trying to point us to the reality of eternity. You think about 1 Peter, I just taught on 1 Peter at our church not long ago, and he says, 1 Peter 1:24-25, he says, "For all flesh is like grass," meaning your body is like grass, "and all its glory like the flower of grass. The grass withers, your body withers, and the flower, your body will fade, it falls, but the word of the Lord remains forever." And the word is the good news that was preached to you, 1 Peter said. He's just trying to put into perspective for them, like, dude, you're dying. You're going to die soon. You think about James 4:14, you've heard this before, but it says, "Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring." What is your life? This is what James is saying to his audience. What's your life? Like, why are you making such a big deal of your life? You don't know what tomorrow will bring. You are a mist that appears for a little bit of time and then it vanishes. It's just here today. It's gone tomorrow. You are so consumed with yourself and your own life. And dude, you are going to be gone, James says, very, very quickly. Psalm 39:4-5 says, "O Lord, make me know my end. And what is the measure of my days? God, would you help me to remember that I have an ending and that my days are numbered," he's saying. "Let me know how fleeting I am. the writer says, "Behold, you have made my days a few handbreadths, and my lifetime is nothing before you. Surely all mankind stands as a mere breath." The scriptures are constantly, over and over again, trying to reorient our thinking to the reality of this life is so short. And one of my favorite passages when it comes to this topic is Psalm 90, verse 12, that says, "So teach us to number our days." Listen to what he says, "that we may get a heart of wisdom." If you want wisdom as a man, the writer says, you must understand to number your days. The reality that your days are numbered helps you get wisdom. I remember I was in middle school and I just felt, I don't remember what the problem was, but I went to my youth pastor, and whatever the thing was that I was feeling as a seventh grader felt like the end of the world to me. And I remember my youth pastor just sat there so calmly and wisely, and he said, "Jerrad, I want you to put your thumb as close as you can to your eye." If you're watching on YouTube, I'm doing it right now. Put your thumb as close as you can to your eye. And as you look at that, as you're closing one eye and you're just looking at your thumb in the other eye, it looks like it is taking up all the view. And he said, just slowly start to pull your thumb away from your face as far as you can stretch it out. Now look at it and realize how small it is. He says, when you put things into perspective, they seem to make a lot more sense. And when you put things into perspective of eternity, things start to make a lot more sense. The writers of the scripture, Jesus, when he talked about the kingdom and storing up treasures in heaven and not in this earth, when all the writers of scripture are telling us to number our days, to remember how short this life is, that life is a mist. They're not telling us this to be morbid or to be sad or to even have fear of death. They're telling us this really as freedom. When you start to realize how insignificant your life really is, how short your days really are, and how quickly eternity is coming, it doesn't cause fear, it causes freedom. Now, when I look at my problems, 99% of them are put into perspective and they seem so much more insignificant. Even today, as I was thinking about having to record this episode, it's Sunday, I took my family to church. I have all kinds of things on my mind, things that felt really stressful or things that are just, I have to get done this week. And even as I was thinking about recording this episode, I'm like, dude, just practice what you're preaching. All of this stuff that you're stressed about has no bearing in light of eternity. It means nothing in light of eternity. I want you to think about the thing that right now, today, is causing you the most stress. And it's okay, dude. We all have things that are causing us tons of stress. I'm not trying to minimize any of our very real stressors. I'm just trying to help us put them all into perspective. Think about the thing that is causing you the most stress right now. Will it matter in eternity? Does it really hold any weight for eternity? If you could put your stress level from 1 to 10, how stressful is it? And now, thinking about eternity, how important is it in light of eternity? I think, man, for me, so many of my marriage problems, my parenting problems, my work problems, the everyday stressors of life, as I'm remembering eternity, feels so much more insignificant. It does not cause fear. Death does not cause fear. It causes freedom. And this is why I think the writer in Psalm 90:12 says, "So teach us, God, to number our days." God, help me to recognize how short my life is, that my days are numbered. I'm going to be out of here really, really soon, so that, the writer says, I might get a heart of wisdom. As you, brother, start to number your days, recognize how short life is, dude. Today is going to come and go. Your life is going to come and go. And when we start to remember that and we start to realize that, we start to grow in wisdom. I hope you and I both get a little bit more wise today. I love you, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.